All right, guys. Day 80 of holding in my sack. Day 80. So, it's a funny story. This is the second recording. Technically the third, because the first one didn't want to upload for whatever reason. So, but it's fine. So, yeah, basically, guys, we're on day 80. Almost 3 months of retaining the seed. So, there's been a lot, honestly. Getting stronger in the gym. I actually completed a 3 day fast. Oh, it was 70 hours, not 71. So yeah, basically 3 days. And I've just like lately, I would say, and this is a benefit, or maybe I don't really see people talk about in the retention community. We kind of talk about like the female like sexual magnetism, benefits of that nature, the confidence. But I feel like for me, it's just like the ability to think about things. Like, it has you really questioning, everything. Like, what is love? Like, our attachment to things. It makes you really question, like everything. Like, what is the soul? What is it to understand someone? Like, truly, like past their, external or their appearance, and like all these thoughts that I can imagine. Like the Greek philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. I can imagine these are the thoughts they probably had on a day-to-day basis because they didn't have their phones. And it's been crazy, guys. Like, I've started to learn about Gnosticism, Hinduism too. But it kind of has me like, if anyone's seen Avatar, Uncle Iroh, how he kind of learned certain techniques from the Water Tribe, Earthbenders. I think you kind of want to approach spirituality from that same thought process too, where it's like, okay, a lot of people, they only take from Christianity. We could take from Buddhism. Because for me, it was really Buddhism. That was the one I always kind of, probably because of anime too, but Buddhism encouraged you to meditate, really question the ego and the attachment. But from my understanding, I'm reading the Bible a little bit, just like the stories and understanding, like more so like Gnostic Christianity or mysticism. It's like, Jesus was kind of encouraging those same things too of us, like kind of seek within. The kingdom of God is within you. It's not a place, it's not a destination. It's something you already have, innate access to, And that's the thing. Like, spiritual, it's really simple, but it's really complicated because we have our ego, the fears, the anxiety, and these thoughts, and they kind of, and the main, like the actual main issue is like what we call the belief of separation. That I learned from one of the first people that kind of got me into this whole mindset. Well, Joel Goldsmith talked about that's the ultimate like issue. Honestly, is you think that God is separate from you. I always thought God was like this cosmic vending machine or like almighty person that you would pray to, and maybe He would grant your requests and prayers. But then you kind of recognize that you're not separate from that divine power. Like that's your true innate nature. So it's like you're working backwards back to that point. It's not a destination, something you earn, through the ego or through human manipulation or whatever. It's just recognition, sitting in truth, that silence. Because I would say, I've always been someone that's like pretty fascinated with like these type of stories, like Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Hindu, all that stuff has always been pretty interesting to me. But I feel like now with this awareness and alignment, it's given me a new appreciation for those stories. Like recently, I've learned more about like Kundalini, Prana, Hinduism too, with kind of like Shiva and Krishna. I forgot the other person, but it's like kind of the fusion of the male and like masculine energy into like one unity. Because I've noticed that too, regardless of the religion, everyone seems to kind of be pouring into like the one universal truth, where like you're connected with God in like the truest sense. The Buddha called it enlightenment. Christians, Christ consciousness. I forgot the term in Hinduism, but they have their own version of it too. And I've always thought that's pretty fascinating. Like they're all saying the same thing, but in different ways. And it's something I've only slowly begun to like learn about. I'm learning about the chakras now too, but I'd encourage anyone, like, as you retain more and more, because honestly, like when I started, I wasn't even aware I was doing retention. It just came as a consequence of like being aligned and like trying to increase my frequency and vibration. But once I became aware of retention, I was like, oh, like this makes sense. So I think that also too has amplified the benefits, I would say. Just being aware of it, like knowing you're retaining. Because think about it like this, guys, right? It's like, from a biological point of view, we're trying to procreate with as many people as possible. So that's why porn and all this stuff is so, because your brain, it can't tell the difference between an actual person and porn. So it's like, okay, oh, you're actually doing that. Like you're doing your, what you were set out to do. Now, when you retain, the body is like, oh shit, okay, we're not procreating. This is the problem. We need to lock in. So it turns you into like the best version of yourself, so you can be the most, attractive mate. And then another thing too, I would say, like, guys, I was telling you guys how I did the 3-day fast. If you combine retention plus, I would say, intermediate fasting, or like a day or two, or even like a week-long fast, I can't imagine the power that would come from that. Like, I mean, and a funny story, my younger brother, not literally my brother, but basically family, so I call him my younger brother, but he lives with me, but he basically mentioned, like, when I was on my 3rd day of fasting, and we were apart for a few days because he goes to NOLA sometimes when he comes back. But when he came back, he was like, he sensed my presence or aura or whatever. And he was like, he felt like he wanted to cry, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But then I thought, this is probably the highest vibrational state I've ever been in. 70+ day streak among like my 3rd day into like a deep fast. So it kind of makes sense too. But for me, it's been like really motivating, because it's like, yeah, like, I'm sure people have probably started doing this, because to get girls, which, yeah, you probably eventually will, because, I mean, especially if you get to a really high streak, that sexual magnetism, there's no way they don't notice that, and plenty of people talk about those stories. I have experience of that too, but it's like, you realize that's just like kind of like the beginning. I feel like the thoughts you have, even like I used to never think about the ego the way I do now, and that just came as a consequence of alignment and just retaining. Because it's like, when you really think about it, it's like, for anyone that has like confidence issues, because that was something I did, but if you do this, that part of you, like, it's forced to die, because it's like you're doing something that less than 1% of the population can do. Especially like once you've passed 30 days, they're already part of the 1%. I'm on only 80, but there are people that are 200 plus. It's like, now they say comparison is thief for joy, so it's not to say, like, if you're doing more than a week, honestly, you're probably already in the 1%. But it's like, as you do this more and more, and it's like you're just gonna start to separate, yourself from the pack, because your standards are gonna increase. I always said, certain women, people, you're just not gonna want to interact with, because you recognize, it's not worth it. Because for me, it's like, I've gained this awareness, this desire to continue to seek, the kingdom of God, seek enlightenment, remain curious, this childlike wonder. If you really think about a one-night stand, or you're gonna smash someone that you wouldn't marry, it's like you're giving up a lot for someone that's not even gonna marry. And that's why, for me, it's like, I'm not hit unless like I would marry that person, because and that's how it should be. And it's not like, not the whole religious like, oh, you have to wait until marriage, but it's like, if you really gonna consider smashing that person, should be with desire to marry them, and like for them to be the bearer of your kids. That's how I view it now too. It's like, why would I even take you on a date if if the goal is not to eventually marry you? Maybe that's a little but I just view it as like, why would I my time and peace is very important. So, if you're going to be someone I seriously consider, marrying, it's like, yeah, I can't downplay the importance of that. And I feel like the biggest thing too, it's like, I would say for anyone struggling, like genuinely, like the click, right, is when you recognize that this shit is not a game. This shit is spiritual fucking warfare. This shit is not a game, right? Like it's literally life or death. That's like the easiest way I would explain it. Like, this shit is not to be messed around with. Because remember, when you're retaining, it's like I used to say borrowing the power from God, but then you recognize you're not borrowing the power. You always had access to that power. So it's like you're tapping in to your true power, But when you go against that, or release, or goon, or whatever, it's like, you're giving up that power. You're giving up that higher conscious, higher state of being. And there's consequences for that too. But I would say for me, the real shift is recognizing like, this shit's not a fucking game. You got to lock in, really retain your seed, because like you'll get a lot of benefits. You'll hardly get sick. That glow they talk about, this unbelievable ability to focus. Be present. You're not addicted to your phone. The strength gains from the gym. Like, guys, when I tell you, I've been lifting for a while, right? Maybe like 5+ years. Yeah, 5+ years. And it's like every other week I'm hitting the PR now. It's like you're back in your newbie gains phase. And I know that's from retention. And that's where I'm like, there's certain benefits of retention you can't explain in science. I mean, I guess not releasing makes your testosterone higher, but it's just like, it's just shit I couldn't believe, you know, like I'm lateral raising 50 pounds. My incline dumbbell press is at 80 pounds. Weight that I've never seen anyone else do in my gym. Of course, there are people stronger, but it's more so like weight I never would have imagined myself being able to do. Like now I'm doing, you know, like week to week and getting stronger, you know. And it's made me really take my diet seriously. I'm meditating consistently now too, and that's a really important thing too, guys. Like really learn how to breathe, you know, like properly. That's something I'm still learning too. Like I've been watching more videos, but like how to breathe properly and like just really sit and be present with your thoughts. Like now when I wake up, it's like the first part of my day is like it's no phone. It's just me and my thoughts. And I'll have like breakfast, I'll be outside, I'll ground, I'll get my sunlight. I'm doing all these things, you know, without my phone. And it's like it's a serene bliss, honestly. And that's another thing too, I'll say. It's like as men, it's like, and it's something that like people are like, you know, if anyone's out there, you know, like, oh, you're virgin this or that, or you know how much experience a woman. That's good thing. It's a good thing, honestly, because a lot of people, men especially, like their greatest achievement is how much people they've slept with. And it's crazy how I used to glorify that, but then you recognize it's sad or almost pity, because if they've taken that energy and transmuted it into anything else, you know, they'd probably find a cure for cancer, or, you know, do things greater than Jesus. You know, that quote, you know, you'll do the same things I have and greater, you know. And before I used to think that was, you know, like hyperbole, but no, it's literal, because you recognize like you're the creator of your own like reality. And it's like, you're not God, but you're not separate from God. So you have this divine power. So it's like, if you keep cultivating it and you really believe it, you'll start to manifest things you can't even imagine. Like, it's honestly brought back like a childlike wonder for me, where it's like, wow, like if I keep pursuing this, I keep retaining, keep getting aligned, keep increasing my vibration, I can't even begin to fathom, you know, what's going to happen. And another thing I'll say too is like anyone that's like, I have like very good friends, you know, she's very spiritual. And then my brother too is also spiritual. But it's like, for anyone going down this path, you know, if you have a bro that's doing retention too, like genuinely cherish those people, because, you know, like you have your friends, right? Like me, it's like I have like two friends, like it's like two, I guess, categories, right? You have the day ones, people you've known since high school. They might not work out or have the same desire to like really improve, but like they're still day one friends, and like I love them dearly. But then there's category two, where it's like it's the people that like, you know, you work out with, you go to the gym with, they vibrate on the same frequency as you. You're able to have, you know, these deep talks with them too. I would argue both groups are equally important, but the second group I've noticed becomes like a lot more important as you keep vibrating higher, because they help you. Like I have a friend, if not for her, I would argue she was like the spiritual catalyst almost. I've had two. I have a mentor who I met through work, and then her, but I feel like interacting with both of them is like helped me unlock this awareness. And that's where I'm like, men, it's like a lot of men were like, oh, we don't need women. I mean, I'm sure there are men out there that have achieved this awareness without any woman's help, but definitely it's like something I've noticed too. It's like their intuition, or maybe it's their alignment, or maybe it's like their aptitude for spirituality, it's innately greater. It's why like when you're retaining, they can kind of sense that. They can't explain it because it's like esoteric to them. They don't really know what you're doing, but they sense that you're different, and you know the science behind that, whatever. I don't really know, but and that's another thing too. It's like I'm still very logical. Like, you know, the science of things is very important, but it's like the alignment. It's like certain things, certain benefits. I can't even begin to explain. You know, I find I don't need as much sleep as I need to. You know, and it's like that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, because yeah, you want to get adequate sleep, but when you're retaining and holding this energy, it's like, you know, you can really get away with a lot less sleep, and probably other things too. And then I'll say like, I mentioned that earlier. It's like one of the main benefits. It's like you start to question everything. You start to think more, have these deep thoughts and conversations with other people, but also with yourself too. Like you really become the observer, you know, of your thoughts, which I think is really powerful, because Another benefit I've noticed, it's like, I imagine most people, the way I would describe it is in their head, right? The thoughts go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's constant. For me, it's naturally gone slower. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes even slower, depending on, if I just got like a meditation session. And that too, guys, like, oh my goodness, like there's a certain, like, I guess you would call it a high, right? It's why we drink, smoke, or whatever. But it's like there's a certain high you can only get from meditation. But like right when I come out of a good meditation session, I think it's maybe like a version of astral projection where it's like you briefly left your body, so when you come back, there's like this like slight delay. Like you open your eyes and you're coming back to like, oh, you're in a body, like serene, crazy stuff like that, And I'm like, damn, this shit is so awesome. Like, like honestly, it's actually fucking amazing. And that's why I'm like, guys, like keep retaining, because remember, retention is just like it's an amplifier, but it's supposed to kind of be this like gateway, I'd argue, for a lot of people into the whole spirituality thing. And this is where I'm like, it really has you question everything, like your ego, like even your goals. Because now I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to provide for family, have the business, you can have money, have the freedom. But I'm like, that's still like surface level. Like that's my ego. Not that that's those aren't bad goals. They're noble and they're grounded in morality, to provide for your family, your friends, so you can help them. But more so I'm like, well, what's like the actual end goal? And this is something I think, like, from my understanding of the Buddha, is like he encouraged people to seek enlightenment. And then I feel like after enlightenment, or once you awaken the Christ consciousness like fully, I feel like that's like your second life, literally. Like everything is preparation up to that point, and you have a whole new experience after that point. I'm like, damn, because honestly, that's how it feels. The first 24 years for me was preparation for like this awakening. But I can imagine like maybe there's 3 parts. There's pre-awakening, then the process of awakening, and then like after you're awakened or in line, and then you kind of live through that. So maybe there's like 3 versions that you go to, or really 2, the old self and then like, your true self. But it just has me like, wow, like this stuff is so fascinating, because I've always been interested in like, the Greek stories, Hinduism, Buddhism. Even before I got more into Christianity, like I was always like, oh, the Buddha's cool, like the whole enlightenment thing. Like usually in anime, like everyone knows, like any character that's like symbolizes the Buddha. Like everyone knows Hashirama from Naruto. It's like, oh, he's got Buddha powers, or he can summon a statue. You already know he's really strong, and it makes perfect sense too, because usually, in East Asian cultures, like the Buddha, like basically worship him like a god. But I can imagine like just being able to have a conversation. It's like, damn, I can't imagine like if I think of like the Buddha, even Jesus, the other Greek philosophers, Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, like the conversations that they were having. Oh my God, like that alone motivates me, because it's like, I know there's people out there, people watching this video, people that haven't watched the video yet, but people that eventually develop awareness. But the conversations we'll have when we get to that point, it's literally otherworldly. It's like we'll probably be able to communicate without actually talking, because I feel like sometimes words, they don't do this whole journey or process enough, like genuinely. Like my ability to connect, like being able to see friends in new ways, like view them. It's almost like, if anyone knows John 14:12, like take heart, I have overcome the world. That was actually the video I recorded originally, but didn't upload. And I tried part 2, didn't upload. So we're doing it again. But when you overcome the world, it's like you stop taking the external world like so seriously, because you recognize it's not the final reality. But then that also applies to people too. It's like you stop viewing them so harshly from the actions they're doing, because you recognize that's not their true nature, because if their true nature, they're not doing those things. It's not like you're condoning bad behavior or whatever, but it's like it's a grace, or almost like gives you like a softness. You're not as rigid. You're more flexible, open, but it allows you to genuinely see people and interact with them. I feel like it's how I've been able to really get to know like 2 really good friends, honestly. Like just recognizing how both amazing they are now. It's like, damn, I'm like, wow, she's cool. Like she's cool. It's like, wow, I would have never saw them like that, because for men, it's like we can only see women. Unfortunately, some of us are so cooked, the simps, whatever you want to call it. It's like, damn, we can't see women past their bodies. And I'm like, there's a whole like dimension of like understanding and like knowledge that you can gain if you can view them past that point. Even men too. I mean, there's like a lot of like, and I'm like, this is something to develop where it's like if you can have a conversation with someone that like doesn't stem from ego, like you're both aligned, awakened. I can't imagine how like glorious, like peaceful, serene, like those conversations will be. And that's a motivator for me too, because it's like, yeah, all the other benefits are cool, the glow and all that stuff, but it's like the ability to have these conversations, be genuinely present, and get closer to God, whatever your interpretation of that is. It's like, I think that's one of the most important things, honestly, because for me, it's like, as I watch more like manifestation content and stuff like that, a part of me is like this is good because they're manifesting wealth because they want to help people and live their dream lives. But I'm also like, I feel like that's kind of just like the beginning, It's like, there's probably a lot more that you can do with this awareness and just manifest. But that part, my brain is like, it's still beginning to like, maybe somewhat partially start to understand that, but I don't know. But it really just has you, thinking. And that's why I started recording these videos, because I was like, I have to get these thoughts out there because I have all these thoughts in my mind. And sometimes it's just easier just to, let it out and talk. But like there's certain things, like I'll never forget one time with my bro, like we were driving and I'm at a light and it's like intuitively, it's like we were talking to each other, but we weren't like physically, like I wasn't like verbally speaking. But he was basically like, why didn't you turn? And I was like, oh, because it was green or something. It was something with like traffic, because like, but it's like, I know that's what he's thinking. And then I verbally said like, yeah, that's the reason. He was like, what the, like, how did you know I was saying that? And he was like word for word. It's like, I knew what he was saying without him physically expressing it. And there's been a bunch of other cases like that too, where it's like, you're just like so in sync with another person. It's like, you get the same idea, or you intuitively know what they're thinking about. But that's another thing too, because you're able to actually like understand people. It's like, how do I explain? It's like you'll actually know if they understand something or like how they're feeling. It's like you can feel shifts in energy. Like I'll never forget, one day I'm out with some friends and a whole situation. I'm not going to go into the details, but basically someone's ex was there. The other friend didn't tell them that she was going to be there. And it's like to the millisecond, guys, like I noticed like the shift in the air. Like I sensed the energy shift. And that's not something I always had the ability to do, because it's like for years, this emotional, like spiritual part of me was like closed off. Like it was blocked heavily by trauma. But now that it's open, it's like you're able to see things, feel things too. Because that's another thing. Like lately, guys, it's like I'm not even sure how to describe the feeling. Maybe it's still anxiety or fear, but it's like I feel like it's part of it. It's like the pent up, like sexual energy from retaining for so long. Because sometimes you can't transmute it, Sometimes you got to be present, or you just have to stay at home for whatever reason, So it's like you can't always transmute it, because the ego always wants you to think go, 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 go. But sometimes you have to stop and just kind of sit and rest with the energy. And I guess that's something I still have to learn how to do, but that's why I just keep retaining, because I'm like, just keep seeking. It's like the whole Goku, Asta, whatever anime you like, it's like keep going, keep seeking out improvement and see what happens, because I'm like, it's only 80 days. I can't imagine 150, 200, 250, like how powerful mind, body, spirit is gonna be. So that's like the biggest motivator for me now too. My goal in these videos is to like encourage men specifically, a woman too. I don't know if any women are watching this video, but I feel like part of me now, it's like you recognize how like fucked up, like some of the things we do, men, are pretty fucked up. The way we objectify women, like that stuff, like we have to work on. It goes both ways, because women also struggle with lust, but we have more innate sexual power. That's why we gain more when we give it up, Like a woman can, of course, abstain or practice abstinence, but she's not going to get the same benefits the way, we do. It's like, there's no female equivalent of semen retention. I'd argue, honestly, the closest thing I would say, if you're trying to get closer to God or the kingdom, it's probably fasting. I think that might be the only, that might be the woman equivalent. So especially, a lot of women like to eat. Well, maybe not, but, at least my experience, it's like, they love to eat, so I feel like their attachment to food is probably greater. So I think there's more for them to gain from like giving that up, you know, temporarily. But I would say fasting's the equivalent, honestly. It's not gonna be as powerful because if you're retaining the fasting at that point, you're gonna be a fucking superhero. You're gonna be fucking Broly from that Broly movie or some shit, honestly. But it's gonna make you serenely powerful. But I'll definitely continue. I'm gonna try to post more, guys. Honestly, definitely, because I have to. It's just more thoughts coming to my mind. I'm like, damn, I gotta get this shit out. You know, as I learn more about Kundalini and meditation, that stuff, I'll make more videos about that stuff too. But yeah, that's day 80 of a full sack, guys.